Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pawnstone YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the second round of my first chess tournament being played here in middle to late January 2025. And if you haven't already checked out the first round episode recap, you should do that on the channel. If you want, I can just put a link below if you want in the description of this video, and you can go check that out after because you really should check it out. So yeah, I explained a little bit more in the other video as well, but going into this tournament, I was pretty nervous because it was my first one, but I was trying to go in with the expectation of, just trying to learn, I guess, and also the expectation that, my opponents are probably going to be very underrated because there's a lot of really good kids nowadays. And so I was just happy to play, honestly. I didn't care really, I did care a little bit, but I didn't care, I didn't care, a ton if I won or lost. But it was just fun to experience. It was just a fun experience. So, let's get right into the recap. So, my opponent in round 2 was Giovanni, and this is my second round playing as white. I played white in the first round as well, playing against Michael. And if you don't already know, the way they do pairings for tournaments nowadays is they usually do it by points. So if there's like, I don't know, in this tournament there was like 180 people. So if 90 people had 1 point at the end of round 1 and 90 people had 0 points, all the 0 point players play each other and all the 1 pointers play each other. So I was in the 0 point bracket because I had lost my first game. So I was playing Giovanni, who was also in that bracket. And also I don't really know how the rating thing works because my first opponent was 900, but my second one was 500. So, and also I am unrated because it's my first tournament, if you were wondering what that UNR stands for. Okay, so as you all know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm typically a d4 player, so I always like playing Queen's Gambit or Catalan system, but I don't really I don't really like close positions. I usually like open positions where I can get all my pieces out and stuff like that. So I played d4, and he responded with d5. I played c4. This is just my typical Queen's Gambit. He played e6, which is the favorite now at the highest level, which is to refute the Queen's Gambit and go for a Queen's Gambit declined, kind of a more dynamic and kind of a close position for black. I played knight to f3, which is what I usually play. This is a Catalan kind of system. He played knight to f6. I played g3. He played knight to c6, which is something that is played. And I played bishop g2, and now my idea is I'm going to castle, and maybe I'll bring my bishop out to f4 or something like that. He played g6, so he is trying to maybe do the same thing, fianchetto his bishop. I played castles, and he played bishop d7, which I didn't really understand this move, but I assume he just wanted to, develop his bishop and not have it blocked or something. Maybe he'll move his knight at some point. I played a3. If you notice, if you watch the recap of the first round, I played a3 as well. In that game against Michael, but that game didn't go very well. So again, I just played a3 to kind of control the knight on c6. So he played b6, which I don't really get this move. I don't really know what that move is. I played b4. I just wanted to take some space and maybe in the future play b5, which is what the computer likes here. He played a5. And he took, and now I played bishop to g5. So, in this position, I did want to take the knight. I did want to trade my bishop for the knight because usually it's not a good idea. But in this case, I wanted to because the knight had nice control of the center, and I wanted to bring my knight to c3, and I couldn't do that with his knight. So he played h6 to kick out my knight after my bishop after. He was spending a little bit more time as well. He was spending like quite a few minutes thinking of certain moves, which is fine. He's thinking out moves, but I I think I might have still been at like less than 10 minutes spent here. So I took, and he took back, and now I played c takes d5, and he took with the e pawn, which is the only pawn you can take with, and the only piece you can take with. And I played knight c3, which is what my idea was. And now I have pretty nice control with that. The knight on f3, the knight on c3, and then the queen on d1 as well is protecting. So I have two defenders to his two attackers for that d4 pawn, and now I'm attacking the d5 pawn. He played bishop e6 to defend, and I played rook to e1. My idea here is to play e4, which my opponent allowed, so I played e4. I took with a knight to attack the queen. The queen backed up to e7, and I played knight takes d6 check. He took with the queen, and now I played a5, a4. The reason for this is, my pawn was defended, and it did relinquish. It did when I played this. It did relinquish defense of that square. But I kind of just wanted to lock down that pawn. I didn't want it moving at all if I could help it. All right, now he played castles, which I was kind of surprised about. I didn't think it was very, I didn't think it was. I mean, he could have castled earlier. I didn't really think it was a right time now, but now is better than later, I guess. But anyway, after he castled, I went rook c1 just to control control that file, and also that was another reason why I played a4 is because I couldn't move my rook before because the queen was attacking the pawn, and if I would have moved the rook, here, if I would have moved it like here, now then he could have just taken. So I didn't like that. I wanted to keep that pawn there just to make sure his pawn could never move. So I played rook c1, and he played bishop d5 to stop my pawn from moving. And in this position, I'm very happy with this move I played. But before I played it, I was really thinking a lot and really calculating, and yeah, I don't know. I'm very happy with this move though. I played rook c5. I really like this move because it really controls. It really kind of stops all of his pieces, and it just kind of controls his pieces in the center. I don't know. I was really happy I found this move. He played rook e8, and I traded, and now I played h3. The reason for this is I really just didn't have a move. Really, I mean, I didn't really. I was kind of scared to move I could have moved my king. What did it want here? Let me see. It wanted. Okay, that doesn't help. Okay, so then he rook d8, and I played knight e5. So I like this move as well because, first of all, this opened up my bishop, and also I attack here, and now I have a lot of things going on here. So he played queen e6, and I took the bishop. He took with the rook. I took the rook. I took the knight. He took back. So there's a big exchange here. So bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes, knight takes, queen takes, and I played d5. He played queen b6, and in this position he actually offered me a draw, because he thought it was a drawn. He thought it was just a drawn position because we just have queen and pawns. We have equal pawns. We both have almost a passed pawn here, and we have a 3-on-3 on the king side. So he offered me a draw here. I was really debating whether or not I should do it, but I decided to not go for the draw, and you'll see what happens. What happens at the end. So instead of taking the draw, I played king g2, and he played king g7, and now I'm just trying to bring my king up, right, and bring my pawns up and try and promote another pawn. Played king f3, and he played king f6, queen a1 check. I like this move as well because it forces his king back, and now I can really get in deep and control that, the d6 square, some of his pawns as well as my queen. He played king d7, and now I played queen f4. And this was kind of a bad move because now he has queen b3, and he's going to pick up that pawn, which honestly, when I moved my king, I didn't even see, but thankfully this pawn is hanging as well, so I took on h6. He played queen f5 check. I was really getting kind of scared here. When he played queen f5, I thought there was like a mate somewhere, but nope, I just go to h4, and he forced a queen trade, so we traded, And now I was really starting to calculate hard the whole pawn race here, because now I had a, basically like a 2-on-1 here, and then he had this pass pawn. So I was really trying to calculate hard, and I spent a lot of time here. I played g4. He took, and I took with the king because I wanted a pass pawn. So now we both have a pass pawn. And he played king e7. And I played h4, and he offered me another draw here, which is kind of unusual to offer as a lot of draws, because he thought it was another drawn endgame, because I was closer to the end with my pawn, but he was closer with his king, and he was farther with his pawn. So it was yeah. He offered me another draw, and I decided to refuse this one as well. So he played king f6, I played h5, he played king g7, king g5, c5. So now at this point, I was actually, well, before I even moved the king or the pawn up to h5 g5, I was debating whether or not I should sack my pawn and go after his, which that's what I did. So after he played c5, I played king f4, and I just started going after his pawn. He played king h6, and he took, and I played king d5, and he played f5, which I wasn't scared about because I have that pawn on f2. I took on c5, and now he played f4. I played king e5, king b5, and at this point, I think I probably spent like 10-15 minutes calculating this whole thing out, and I was really thinking hard about this, because I was thinking whether or not his king could get faster to my pawn, because his pawn is only 3 squares away, but he has 2 squares to move his king and then capture. That's 3, and then he has to move away. That's 4. But my king only has 2 moves, so take the pawn and move away, and then I have 4 squares. So yeah, I was really calculating pretty hard here. So he played king g4, and I took on a5. He played king f3, and I moved away. He played king takes, a5, and f3. I was actually kind of glad he played king g2, and he just played f2, and so I played a8 queen, and it was a check. So I was really glad I was able to, if he would have played here, then it would have been totally different, because I would have played a6. I would have played, a6 here, 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 and then we both would have queened. So it would have been probably a draw if he hadn't played king g2. So I was really glad that he did. a6, a7, a8, queen. So I was able to check him, and he had to move his king. He played king g1, and thankfully I watched a Gotham Chess video on queen and pawn endgames, so I knew that I have to get behind that pawn there. So I played queen a7 to pin that pawn to the king. The pawn can no longer move. He played king g2, and I brought my queen down to a2 to do the same thing. King g1, and now I played queen g8 check, just trying to move around, always trying to give a check, because then I don't want to end the game in a draw for some reason. King f1, and now I get to bring my king, because he has blocked his pawn. King e1, and I played queen g3. All these moves I've been playing so far are the top line of the engine, which I was pretty glad about. Played king e2, and I played queen d3 check, king e1, and I played queen e3 check. And I was just kind of shuffling. I was really thinking a lot here. And he played king f1, and I brought the king, and he still can't move the pawn. So he played king h1, and it's a mistake to take here. I cannot take with the queen here, because this is stalemate. So I do not want that. So instead I played queen h3 check, and that forced his king back. And I played queen f1, and now I can take, because here he cannot go to h1 anymore. So he played king h2, I played check, he played king h1, and I played queen f8. The reason for this is I just wanted to play king f2, or actually no, not king f2, but he played king g2, and I played queen g8 check, and now my queen checks him, and my king blocks these squares, so he has to go back, which he did, because that's the only thing he did, and in this position he resigned. So yeah, this was a great win for me, probably one of the best wins I've had this year, honestly. Even though this is my first tournament, throughout, like, you know, playing at the club and all these things, this is probably one of the best games I've had. I was really happy with this game. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed, uh, you know, how I played. I think I played fairly well, although it got pretty sketchy here at the end with these pawns. I got pretty, you know, scared with the whole pawn race thing, but I'm pretty glad that I refused both of his draws because, you know, um, I usually try not to. I don't like draws. I don't like playing for a draw. So, um, I'm glad with how I played. I think I played fairly well, and yeah, I'm glad I watched that Gotham Chess video, honestly, because if I hadn't, I would not have known what to do. So thank you, Gotham Chess, and also maybe I'll, um, you know, put a link in the description or something like that, or you can just check it out. I think it's called like, he made it like a few years ago, but it's like you know, how to win endgames with queen and pawn or something like that. How to win queen and pawn endgames. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy with this game, and you know, if you've been following this tournament, oops, sorry, if you've been following this tournament at all, thank you, and make sure to. I have one more game left, so make sure to check that out, and I will be posting that soon, maybe in the next few days, something like that. Maybe, you know, maybe in the weekend. I don't know, but um yeah, thank you all for watching, and anything else? Check out the community page. I got a couple things on there on the channel, and if you've watched this far, thank you very much. Most people, you know, these videos don't get a lot of viewership, so thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say, so as the kids say, I'll stop yapping, and I'll see you all in my next video, and yeah, see you later.